It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Friday, the 19th of September. I'm Michael Groff. Some of you were rudely, or perhaps pleasantly, depending on your perspective, awakened by the sound of heavy rain and thunder in the late night and early morning hours. In the West Valley, it was strong, even severe storms, while in the North Valley, up around Carefree and Cave Creek, the National Weather Service had to issue a flash flood warning due to the extreme rainfall that was occurring up there. The remainder of the valley saw some widely scattered, albeit locally heavy downpours, including, of all places, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Yes, they actually got some rain there. So we all know this is the day to buy a lottery ticket. Meanwhile, how about the weather for the rest of the day today, tonight, tomorrow, heading into early next week? Well, as has been the case for the last several days, my answer to all of that is it's complicated and uncertain. But we're going to try and figure it out as we dive on in. Plus, we've got some good news regarding temperatures for next week. Not nearly as hot as we were looking at earlier. All right, we've got so much to get into, plus it's Friday, and you know what that means. Yeah, we'll do all of that and everything else in just a moment. Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With all the extreme weather we have in Arizona, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help, offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroofinggroup.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroofinggroup.com. All right, let's get into it here. It is Friday, and that means it's Photo Friday, and that's where we take a look at some of the photos and or videos that you guys have submitted. And first up, David Parnell. That's the guy that took this picture last Saturday, the time, the place, Greenway High School, and I guess there was a volleyball tournament, and a pretty big one at that, with 35 games being played, according to David. Went on for over 12 hours. I don't know if he was there the whole time, but said it was a pretty good time to be had out there, albeit kind of hot, of course. I don't know, I guess they played it outdoors. Seems like I don't know, maybe they did. That seems like a lot. That's a lot of volleyball. That's a lot of sports, man. This is still a rough time of the year to be doing all that. Then Beth up in North Phoenix, flowers blooming. Love to see these pictures. It's inspirational. Of course, our garden, we've been talking about this on the videos for a while. Our backyard has gone crazy with, we've got vincas, we've got a canna lily, we've got Mexican heathers, we've got it all going on. Mint, of course, the mint takes over your whole yard. So be aware of that if you're going to put some mint down. But it's been great. The somewhat cooler weather and a little bit more rain has really helped with everything going on there. Then we head up north, Buck in Montana. He says that they've actually had some more rain up there of late. And that's excellent news because it had been fairly dry for a while. And I know out here in the West, we're still battling with wildfires all over the place. But it's good to see these pictures. It's good to see all this stuff. And of course, as we always tell you, here on this channel, we don't just exclusively talk Phoenix and Arizona weather. And certainly on Photo Friday, we love to see your pictures from everywhere, not just here in the state, but the Southwest, the country, the world. We've had pictures from all over the world, and that's what makes Photo Friday so great. So thank you to Buck for sending that in. Chris Flores down by Sky Harbor Airport last night. How about some lightning? Very vivid lightning. Chris has been capturing these vivid lightning shots of late. And yeah, they did actually have some rain. There's a little bit of evidence of that, and we'll show you even more here in the almanac in a second. This is Jeff down in Florence. Look at that. Spectacular. And Kevin up in Carefree. Yep, they had quite a bit of rain last night. And again, some spots were under a flash flood warning through about 7:15 a.m. And there's actually still some light showers that are going on up there even as I do this video. Miles Sampson was headed out towards Southern California on I-10, got toward Riverside County, and Just missed the very worst of it yesterday, but as you know, they had some very heavy rain over the last couple of days out there in La Paz and Riverside, parts of Imperial counties, and points even west of there. But he did say it was a little bit tricky maneuvering through all of that, but still made for some good photos, and we appreciate that, Miles, as always. Then Steve and Renee up in Willow Creek, nothing like a beautiful sunset. And again, appreciate all that too. I know they've had some good rain up there too. So everybody has been getting in on the action here for some decent precipitation across the area, and we desperately need it because we are still in quite a drought over much of the Southwest. All right, and then from Steve, we go to William, and I believe these are by the Coyote Basin area. And look at that. Fantastic pictures. Really do appreciate all of you guys, all of your submissions. We couldn't do this segment without you, and of course, we're not done yet because, well, if there were thunderstorms, that means there was a Ryan Seek that was out doing his time-lapse stuff that he always does, and that's what you're looking at here. This is close to Gila Bend, where he did all this, right before sunset the other night. So, spectacular stuff here. We love to watch these time-lapse. We can just sit back and watch these all day. I'd put music underneath all this so we could just sit back and I don't have to talk all over it. But probably any music that I put down here, unless it's my own music, like we play at the end of these videos. Other than that, might get flagged and we get demonetized, and that's no fun. We actually like to get paid for our work around here. So anyway, so that's Ryan Seek. That's Photo Friday. You have any photos or videos that you'd like to submit? People ask me all the time. Here's how you do it. You just send it to my email address. groffshow@gmail.com is the email address. That's GROFF show@gmail.com for Photo Friday. All right, let's get into it here. The almanac from yesterday, 101 degrees the afternoon high, 77 was the low, but that occurred at 11:59 p.m. thanks to the clouds and the rain that we had in the very late night hours just before midnight. In fact, Sky Harbor picked up 2/200ths of an inch. I believe they had an additional 100th of an inch after midnight. Now, we're still way, way, way behind on rainfall for the year, but every little bit helps. 178. 100 is the average high, 78 the average low. I know when I string those together, it sounds like I'm saying 178 is the average temperature, but they are two separate values. Okay. Taking a look outside right now, it's one of those colloquialisms or one of those just weird ways the language works sometimes. Looking outside right now, just after 12 noon, we do have some clouds out there. And yes, still a few light showers lurking about. We're sitting at 91 degrees at Sky Harbor. We very well may not make the century mark today, or just barely if we do. Dew point's at 63, so it's still muggy. Humidity 39%, the winds are light, the barometer falling. Radar right now shows some showers across northern Maricopa County, mainly north of the greater Phoenix area, although I guess, you could consider Carefree, Cave Creek, and up toward Anthem and New River, I guess part of greater Phoenix, the market anyway. And those storms continue to lift off to the northeast. We could see a few storms develop this afternoon, but for the most part, the precipitation is done for the afternoon. Again, an isolated shower or storm cannot be ruled out the rest of the day today and tonight. We can't completely discount that, but they will generally, for the rest of the day, favor the higher terrain areas. Satellite picture out here across the southwest, that upper low that absorbed much of that moisture from Mario, kind of spinning off the central California coast, kind of lifting north, although that's going to start to drag back to the south and east over the next few days. And you're going to hear this, the old saying, a closed low or a cutoff low is a weatherman's woe. And the reason for that is because they are very difficult to forecast. Models sometimes are just useless in handling these things. And so I know the models have been struggling with how this pattern is going to evolve over the next few days, so we will see at least some more unsettled weather at some point, and we'll get into the details of that in a moment. The watch warning map, still some flood watches over central California. Otherwise, things are relatively quiet right now across much of the country. The convective outlook for today got that standard slight risk of severe storms. the marginal risk of severe storms. So level 1 out of 5. I guess I'm hoping for a slight risk somewhere. I don't know. Around Kansas. Elsewhere, Arizona in the green, at least a majority of the state in the green, thunder possible. And just like we've seen the last few days, isolated to widely scattered in nature. Most of you probably won't see much, but those of you that do, where we do have thunderstorms, they could produce some very heavy rain in short order and some gusty winds and even some small hail as well. All right, the tropics in the Atlantic Basin. We've got a wave that's out there in the East Atlantic with a very low chance of developing. No chance, according to the National Hurricane Center, in the next 2 days, and only a 20% chance in the next 7 days of becoming a tropical depression or storm. And the reason for that, still some dry air and subsidence that this system is going to have to overcome. Gabrielle is our tropical storm out here. This is still expected to become a hurricane. I anticipate that it will. At some point, but, it's probably not going to get as strong as some of our guidance initially suggested. This will be maybe a category 1. Perhaps it could gain to category 2 strength, mostly staying east of Bermuda. That's the thinking right now. And of course, this will not affect the east coast of the United States. And that's also very good news. All right, in the East Pacific, we got 2 areas of interest out here, and they each have a moderate to high chance of developing into a tropical depression or storm. Question is, what's going to happen with these systems? And there is still considerable uncertainty in the models as to whether or not, especially that trailing wave off the coast of mainland Mexico, is really going to become a factor in our weather down the road. And at this point, I would say probably not, but that's not a for sure thing either. Obviously, anytime we have these storms developing out here in the East Pacific, and given how active it has been, and now that we are seeing more active wave action in the westerlies, we always have to watch these storms when they develop, because moisture from these systems, or even the entire system, can be brought up toward the desert southwest and obviously give us chances of showers and storms. So we'll keep our eye on what's going on out there. Now, precipitation outlook valid through next Friday morning from the WPC. Rain amounts in Phoenix, 1/10 to 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more than that. Obviously, any one spot can see way more than what's shown here in this kind of an environment, but this represents an average of what we'll experience over the next 7 days. And again, for today, I would say the chance of precipitation is pretty low. And I'm going to talk about all that right now as we get to the models, have a look at things. This is the GFS, the 12Z run, and this is valid at 5 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars. It's about 18,000 feet off the ground. All right, there's that upper low well to the west of the California coast. And it's kind of lifting a little further north, and the flow aloft around here is southwesterly, and that's generally a dry flow of air for us under most circumstances. So what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, we still have plenty of antecedent moisture in the low to mid levels. And with the sun poking out this afternoon, yes, isolated showers and thunderstorms will still pop up. Now, they will generally favor the terrain, the higher terrain features. But again, a stray storm in the lower deserts, we're not going to rule that out. High temperatures, mid to upper 90s today. I guess we could maybe make 100, in the late afternoon hours, but it's going to be close. It's also going to be quite muggy out there. Now for tonight, isolated showers and thunderstorms will continue in the overnight hours, much like we saw last night. Overnight lows will mainly be in the 70s to about 80. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. Right now, the prevailing thinking has been that Saturday will be fairly quiet, mostly sunny, high temperatures 95 to 100. But as we look at some of the guidance here, our high-resolution models, this is the HRRR, the High-Resolution Rapid Refresh, the simulated radar product. This is tomorrow at 3 p.m. It actually has a few showers and storms trying to pop up in south central Arizona. Nothing widespread, nothing organized, but a couple of storms could pop up. And at this point, we do have the forecast dry for tomorrow. We don't mention any rain in our forecast. Might have to change that. And so on tomorrow's video, maybe we will put in a very low-end chance of precipitation. But I would say for tomorrow, the most likely place that you'll find any storms across the state will be in the eastern mountains, the eastern rim. There's an outside chance maybe for places like Flagstaff and Payson and those places. But generally speaking, east central Arizona seems to be the more likely place that we'll see storms tomorrow. But again, a stray storm here in the lower deserts, I guess, can't be completely ruled out either. Now let's go to Sunday, and that aforementioned low that's off the California coast starts to move back our way. It's cut off from the main flow. And yes, that's where we say a cutoff low is a weatherman's woe, because these things are always complicated, always tricky to forecast. And the GFS has been pretty insistent on bringing this down towards Southern California, having it kind of sit here for a couple of days and pull some moisture northward and add some added dynamics for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. I don't think we're going to see anything major, anything widespread. I guess, again, locally heavy downpours are possible, but for the most part, the rain from this should generally be on the light side. But still, it'll be enough to put at least a mention of showers and storms into the forecast for Sunday. Now, again, this could change. This might be taken off the board entirely. We may have to bump rain chances up as we get closer to this, because these cutoff lows, even a small change in the position of this or the intensity of it could make a huge difference in the forecast. And, this time of year, September, October, these cutoff lows right off the Southern California coast, they draw in some additional moisture, and we do have some way down there in the southern tip of Baja. We've had some very impressive rains from these kinds of features before. Not saying that's going to happen with this, but obviously that's why we have to watch this carefully, because it doesn't take much in a setup like this to bring in some heavier precipitation. And models are a little bit all over the board on this too. Some show absolutely nothing. Some show a decent amount of rain. The preponderance of guidance keeps the rainfall pretty light from all this. And that's probably the direction we'll go. High temperatures in the upper 90s to about 100 degrees. Now, Monday, this is probably the best chance of precipitation that we'll have from this feature. Widely scattered showers and thunderstorms will continue. We might have to bump that rain chance up into about the 20 to 30% bracket here in Phoenix. And with a little bit more cloud cover and the presence of moisture and the chance of showers, we'll take temperatures actually and move them down a bit. Guidance is bringing highs down into the upper 90s, so we'll go with highs 93 to 97 for Monday. And again, that small chance of showers and storms around. All right, Tuesday, the low will start to lift out, but we could still see an isolated shower or storm around, but more likely any storms would be over Southern California, up into Southern Nevada, Northern Arizona. And high temperatures will warm up a little bit. I'd say back toward the upper 90s to about 102 degrees. Now, we'll dry out as we go toward Wednesday and Thursday of next week, but we're not seeing any sign of a big area of high pressure building back in, thanks to the presence of that low to the west of us. So highs will probably warm back up to, again, around 98 to 103 here in the lower deserts. That's about it. Nothing record-breaking, nothing like we were seeing before. Remember, we had guidance that was showing 107 and 108, even 109, and we're not going to see that now. At least that's how it appears at this time. All right, a week from today. This is Friday, the 26th. And again, that low is kind of now an open wave. It's passing on by the Four Corners into New Mexico. We're pretty quiet, but look down there off the coast of the Baja. Well southwest of the Baja, we've got a tropical system. Now, this was the system that yesterday the GFS was moving up the west coast of Mexico and crossing over into the northern Gulf of California and coming up toward Phoenix. We've seen, that solution. We've seen a slightly further westerly track. Now, today, that system is much further to the west. And that is mainly because this trough that's well off the Pacific Northwest coast doesn't move as quickly. It doesn't come nearly as far south as fast. And so the system is more blocked from moving northward as a result. But again, we're going to watch what happens. Look at that. This is Saturday, the 27th. And that trough along the Pacific Northwest coast is rather intense. And again, I think we're going to get a good taste of fall up in the northwest here late this month, finally. And that tropical system is starting to move more toward the north, but I don't think we're going to see much from that in this configuration. But as I told you yesterday, models are all over the place on this. And so, of course, we're going to keep an eye on the East Pacific. The tropics are active, so we always have to watch what's happening down to the south. This is the end of the forecast period, Sunday the 28th. And again, if this is right, we're fairly dry, but temperatures would head down a bit because troughing is passing to the north of us. The heights are coming down a bit. And so even though that's dry, temps are probably back into the mid and upper 90s, and overnight lows during this time, how about 60s and 70s? It's going to feel pretty good if that is right. But again, I guarantee you things are going to change between now and then. All right, let's look at rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble. This goes out through the 4th of October. And my goodness, I mean, look at some of the model spread here. You got some of these members on this 31-member ensemble that are showing almost nothing. You've got another one over 5 inches of rain. The ensemble mean, as a result, is pulled way up, I think, way too high, up toward 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. That would be great, but I think this is overdone. I think the GFS is biased way too much by these kind of outlier solutions, although there's actually more solutions that are going up well over 1 inch, 2 to 5 inches than we had in previous runs, but I still think that's just way overdone. But that shows you a few of these members are buying into a deep tropical solution, a tropical cyclone or remnants thereof to come up our way. The European is much more reasonable, under 0.5 inch. The European AI is kind of similar. It's a little bit higher than that, but still much more reasonable. Yes, there's still some model spread in here, and there's a few outliers that are showing some ridiculous amounts of precipitation, but by and large, I think this is probably more the way to go. And I don't even know if we're going to see this kind of precipitation in the next couple of weeks. Looking at temperatures off the national blend of models. Now, with a little bit more unsettled weather expected Sunday, Monday, temps will head down and will probably stay in the 90s on Monday, maybe even Sunday. But then we'll warm it up a little bit as we go into the middle and latter part of next week. But then temperatures at some point, I think we're going to start to see another downtrend right at the end of the month. There is still some signs of some tropical moisture coming in, at least a little bit of moisture coming in by the majority of guidance. Maybe not to the robust nature that the GFS is showing, but some indication that slightly cooler weather will come in here right at the end of the month. And hey, that's kind of right on time. So maybe our 100-degree days are actually fairly limited here at this point. We're, like I said, I think we're maybe 10 or less. Maybe. I hope. I hope we're not seeing 113 in October again this year. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell. Leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you're really enjoying what we do here and you want to support the channel like Ashley did, well, there's lots of ways to help us out. First, you can click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube. It's called a super thanks. That helps. Or like Ashley did, you donate to our PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is our PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. Or our Venmo. You can use that as well. And all of those methods of support for us all linked up down in the description below. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, Adriana related, Kylie related. It's all linked up down in the description below, as is our streaming station available 24/7, 365 called KMGX. We play a ton of music, have a lot of fun over there, so give that a listen. And check out Dan over at the Courtroom Files YouTube channel, The Courtroom Files on YouTube, or courtroomfiles.com for all your Courtroom Files merch. And I want to take this opportunity to wish Dan and his wife, Beth, a happy 17th wedding anniversary. 17 years. That is like twice as long, almost twice as long as I've been doing these weather videos. 17, that's a long time, folks. And congratulations, man. Really, really, that's awesome. So have fun this weekend. I hope you guys do. I understand that they are going to celebrate by having like a ravioli dinner tonight. I'm telling you, that is living. That, if that doesn't symbolize 17 years of marriage, I don't know what does. All right. Hey, to me, that's awesome. But I'm coming over for raviolis. Okay. Now I'm just thinking about food. I don't even know how to end this video because now all I can think about is eating. It's obvious I haven't had anything to eat this morning. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please, please be safe. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. Enjoy the rain where you can find it. And have yourselves a great Friday and a wonderful weekend.